What happens when the school's biggest bully picks the wrong black girl to mess with? Oak Haven Academy, private, prestigious, and if you asked the right students, exclusive in all the wrong ways. It was a place where last names mattered more than first impressions, where who you were wasn't half as important as who you knew. And on a crisp Thursday morning, Oak Haven was about to learn a lesson it wouldn't forget. Chapter 1. The Setup. Zora Williams rounded the corner on the second floor, backpack slung over one shoulder, earbuds in as Megan Thee Stallion's lyrics fueled her brisk pace. AP Calculus in 5 minutes, quiz coming up, zero time for distractions. But fate, or maybe something Messier, had different plans. Because there he was, standing dead center in the hallway like a scene straight out of a corny villain movie, Braden Sterling. 6'2", blonde hair that was probably professionally maintained, muscles carved from years of football, and a grin that made most of the girls swoon, though not for the reasons they'd admit out loud. Braden was the king here, or at least he thought he was, and today his sights were locked on Zora. She didn't need to hear his voice to know where this was going. Well, Braden drawled as he leaned lazily against a row of cherrywood lockers, his tone oozing arrogance, his words dipped in mockery. Look what we have here. You sure you're in the right place, Williams? Students slowed their pace, some stopped walking altogether. The hallway buzzed with unspoken anticipation. Nobody intervened. They knew better. Oak Haven had unwritten rules, and rule number 1 was, if Braden Sterling picked his target, you stayed out of it. Zora inhaled slowly, tightening her grip on her backpack strap. She wasn't in the mood. Not today. Move, she said, her tone even. I don't have time for your nonsense. Wrong answer. Braden's grin widened. You think you can talk to me like that? He took a step closer, his frame casting a shadow over her. You don't belong here, Williams. This school isn't for people like... He shoved her, harder than necessary, not hard enough to knock her down, but hard enough to make a statement, a warning, a challenge. A mistake. Gasps echoed through the corridor. Phones appeared in hands like magic wands. This wasn't bullying anymore. This was entertainment. Zora exhaled, tilting her head as her dark eyes locked onto his. You really don't want to do this, she said, her tone dangerously calm. Braden chuckled. Or what? You gonna cry to the teacher? Go ahead, little girl. And then he shoved her again, harder this time. Zora sighed. That was it. He'd asked for it. She dropped her backpack. In one swift movement, before Braden could blink, she grabbed his wrist, pivoted her hips, and flipped him over her shoulder like he weighed nothing. He hit the ground with a sickening thud. The hallway went silent. For the first time in his life, Braden Sterling wasn't on top. He wasn't the king of anything. Flat on his back, he stared up at the ceiling, his mouth slightly open, his pride shattered into a million sharp little pieces. And then came the noise. Oh my God, someone shrieked. Then came the laughter. Then the applause. Then the cheers. Zora picked up her backpack, slung it over her shoulder, and stepped over him like he was a crack in the sidewalk. Told you, she said casually. The crowd erupted. High fives. Phones recording. Someone even shouted, "World Star." Braden groaned as he rolled onto his side, his face flushed deep red, his fists clenched so tight his knuckles turned white. This wasn't over. Not even close. Chapter 2. Aftershocks. By lunchtime, everyone knew. There wasn't a single person in Oak Haven Academy who hadn't seen the video. Zora flipping Braden Sterling had gone viral on every social platform, and the captions, "Rich kid gets wrecked by black girl at elite private school," comments rolled in faster than anyone could keep up. Yo, she's a ninja. Did you see that flip? She needs to teach me how to do that. For Zora, it was surreal. People who had never spoken to her before were asking to sit with her in the cafeteria. Students who'd spent years acting like she was invisible were now hanging on her every word. But not everyone was smiling. Braden wasn't humiliated, he was furious, and he wanted revenge. Chapter 3. the invitation. By the next morning, Oakhaven was still buzzing. Zora could feel the stares wherever she went. Some were admiring, some were wary, some were ominous. She ignored them mostly, but maybe she shouldn't have. Because when her phone buzzed during fourth period, the message was simple. Anonymous number, meet me at the gym after school. No cameras. Let's settle this. She didn't hesitate. Of course it was Brayden, and of course he wanted a rematch. She wasn't afraid. Maybe she should have been. Chapter 4. The Gym. Oakhaven Academy's gym was massive. High ceilings, gleaming floors, championship banners swaying from the rafters. At 4:15 p.m., it looked empty. Emphasis on looked. Zora stepped inside, her sneakers squeaking faintly on the polished wood. The door slammed shut behind her. She wasn't alone. Big mistake coming here, Williams, came Brayden's voice. He stepped out from behind the bleachers, and he wasn't alone. Behind him were three guys, Jace, Ethan, Marcus, his boys. Big, loyal, dumb as bricks. 4-against-1. Cute. You must really be scared of me, Zora said, crossing her arms. Brayden's face twitched. Shut up, he snapped. He took another step forward, his eyes darker, meaner. This isn't about fear. It's about respect. No, Zora said calmly. It's about revenge. Brayden smirked. Call it whatever you want. Just know, when this is over, you'll never forget your place. Her stomach twisted at those words. She'd heard them before. From people like him, people who thought they owned places like Oakhaven, people who thought she didn't belong. She took a breath, steady, focused. Brayden swung first, sloppy, wide, full of rage, no control. She dodged easily. Amateur. Then Jace lunged. She ducked, swept his legs out from under him. He hit the linoleum with a grunt. Ethan came next, tried to grab her from behind. Bad idea. She drove her elbow into his ribs, hard. He doubled over, gasping. Marcus hesitated. Big mistake. She pivoted, kicked him square in the chest. He flew backward like a ragdoll. 3 down, 1 left. Brayden's face was pure fury now. He rushed her, desperate, wild, weak. She dodged every punch. Then, bam, a quick, powerful kick to his gut sent him staggering. She grabbed his collar, slammed him to the floor, hard. He lay there, stunned. She crouched next to him, her voice low and dangerous. Don't ever touch me again. Chapter 5. The Shift. The gym was silent. Brayden groaned, rolling onto his side. His boys still lay on the ground, defeated, humiliated. Again. By morning, Oakhaven had a new queen. No one feared Brayden anymore. They feared Zora. No one whispered behind her back. They whispered about what she might do if you crossed her. And Brayden? He learned the hard way. There are some people in this world you just don't mess with. Chapter 6. The Aftermath. The shift in Oakhaven Academy was palpable. Brayden Sterling, once the unchallenged ruler of the social hierarchy, now walked the halls with a shadow of his former arrogance. His posse, once quick to enforce his will, now hesitated before acting without his direct command, their loyalty clearly shaken by Zora's decisive victories. The video of Zora's initial takedown of Brayden became a legendary clip, a symbol of the school's unexpected power shift. Zora, however, didn't revel in her newfound notoriety. While some students approached her with a mixture of awe and respect, others remained wary, unsure of this sudden change in the established order. She continued to focus on her studies, her quiet determination now amplified by an unspoken aura of capability. The dynamic between Zora and Brayden remained tense but altered. Brayden, nursing his bruised ego and physical injuries, avoided direct confrontation. His attempts at subtle retaliation, whispered insults, pointed stares, were met with Zora's unwavering gaze, a silent reminder of his humiliating defeats. The balance of power had undeniably shifted. The incident in the gym, while not captured on video, spread through the school with the speed of wildfire. The image of Brayden and his cronies incapacitated by the seemingly quiet Zora further solidified her reputation. Students who had once been victims of Brayden's bullying found a newfound courage, their silence replaced by hushed conversations of admiration for Zora's defiance. The teachers and administration, initially oblivious to the undercurrents of the school's social hierarchy, were now forced to acknowledge the change. While no formal disciplinary action was taken against Zora due to the clear provocation and self-defense nature of her actions, Brayden received a stern warning about bullying and physical altercations. The incident served as an uncomfortable exposure of the school's unspoken tolerance of Brayden's behavior. In the weeks that followed, subtle shifts occurred within the student body. Cliques that had once rigidly adhered to Brayden's dominance began to fracture. Students who had previously remained on the periphery started to find their voice, inspired by Zora's unexpected challenge to the status quo. The unwritten rules of Oakhaven Academy were being rewritten, not by the administration, but by a black girl who refused to be intimidated. Zora, despite her reluctance to embrace the role of enforcer, found herself becoming an unlikely protector for students who had been previously marginalized. A quiet word from her, a simple glance in the direction of a potential bully, was often enough to diffuse a tense situation. She hadn't sought this power, but she understood the responsibility that came with it. Brayden, stripped of his unchallenged authority, began to understand the true meaning of respect, not the fear he had once commanded, but the genuine admiration earned through character and strength. While the animosity between him and Zora lingered, a subtle shift had occurred within him as well, a begrudging acknowledgement of her capabilities. The school year continued, but the landscape of Oakhaven Academy had been irrevocably altered. The incident in the hallway and the subsequent confrontation in the gym served as a powerful reminder that appearances could be deceiving, and that true strength often resided in the quietest of individuals. Zora Williams, the black girl who was once seen as an outsider, had not only defended herself, she had inadvertently sparked a change that rippled through the very foundations of Sterling Heights Academy, proving that even in the most exclusive of environments, true power ultimately belonged to those who dared to stand up for themselves.